It's finally 2021, and we're back with the XboxEra Podcast. I'm Sikamikanico, and I'm joined, as always, by Shpeshal Ed.
What's going on?
That's much more energetic. I like it. That's the new vibe of 2021.
Yeah.
And Figments.
Hey, unremarkable Ed,
Hey.
more like.
Unremarkable
Yeah,
Ed. I like it.
The You Had Me at Halo podcast were the first to get my new welcome.
Brilliant.
Your signature is your new trademark right there.
Yeah. No more g'day.
No more good day. I like it. It's a lot more exuberant. It's episode 43, and it feels good to see the back of 2020. I'm sure everyone listening and you guys would probably agree with that sentiment.
This year's been great so far. I
I mean, 2021 hasn't started a hell of a lot better, has it?
I don't know, swings and roundabouts.
It depends on where you live and who you are. It's been great so far over here.
Yeah, there's been some interesting things.
I say with not a lot of sarcasm, with a little bit of sarcasm, but yeah, you know.
Yeah. So, 2021, we've had Christmas, we've had New Year's. Obviously, for most people, we got a lot of time off. What have you guys been playing?
So much
Destiny.
So much flipping Destiny.
Really?
Oh my god.
It's
And I
2021.
don't understand. I don't understand it. Like Beyond Light, the last expansion they released in November, isn't even that good, to be honest. But I don't know. There's literally nothing else to play for me. I mean, I don't like Black Ops. I didn't like Cyberpunk. And it's like, I don't know what the heck else to play. Later tonight, me and my friends are going to be playing the Halo 3 campaign in co-op all the way through in one go.
That's a solid
So
choice.
that's going to be nice.
What about you?
I'm thinking of recording it and just keeping it in an archive somewhere, but who knows? I don't know
Yeah,
yet.
man, there's some good memories of Halo 3's campaign. I was up there.
Mm.
What about you, Nick? Anything exciting and new? New Christmas presents?
Yeah, I
perhaps?
mean, on the last episode of the year, I was saying to Jeff that I've been playing a lot, and I still am. I started Maneater because it's free on PlayStation Plus. It's actually not a bad little game.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the Game Pass release because I really want to play it. It's like feeding free.
They make you really
GTA.
feel for the shark in that game, huh? The whole opening cinematic. Of your shark mom getting killed.
It's not a bad little game. I can see a sequel being really, really good with a bit more polish and some production value and stuff, but it's not bad. Started Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remake.
Oh, you finally got it, huh?
No,
Mr.
no,
I'm not going to buy it. Oh,
No, I did buy it.
How did you get it?
Mate, when I say something, buddy, I stick to it. I did not buy Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Then how
I
did you
am
play it?
console sharing my PS5, and my cousin bought it, so I'm playing it through his PS5. Mate, I said I'm not buying it.
Winning it
I
live.
did
What
not buy
a
it.
cheese. What a cheese.
I'm playing. What else am I playing? I'm playing so much. Hyrule
sound
Warriors: Age of Calamity on the Switch. Playing Rocket League, Fortnite,
The
Modern
usual
Warfare.
suspects.
Yeah, Master Chief Collection.
Any Super Mario All Stars on your Switch? The one where it's like Sunshine 64 and
No.
Galaxy?
I got that mainly for my son, and he just keeps playing Odyssey for some reason. Although yesterday they were playing a lot of Mario Kart Live, where you've got the little cars with the camera and you set up the track around your house and whatever. So they were playing a fair bit of that yesterday.
I would love to get that game. I have a perfect open plan ground floor for it.
Yeah.
Like with a cool little hallway that you could loop in and around out of. But man, I can't justify that much money on that.
It's a lot of money. It was like it cost me $300,
Yeah,
like 150 per car. Like it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. But yeah, I'm just playing a lot.
I've actually been pleased. Like I had an extraordinarily busy end to the year, and work wise, and then I got to enjoy some time off. I actually completed an open world game for the first time in many years, which is Immortals: Phoenix Rising. And after playing, I sunk 70 hours into Assassin's Creed Valhalla before I loaded it back up before I played Immortals because I was like, I've got to finish this one and then I'll try Immortals.
Yeah.
And it forced me into some Christmas Yuletide nonsense event that I was just like, as soon as I booted it up, it was like, it's Christmas time. I was like, I don't care, click. And I was just done. So I played through and became incredibly addicted to Immortals Phoenix Rising. I am grumpy at Ubisoft, depending on how you pronounce it, for sending that game out to die and sandwiching it between
they did.
Valhalla
of course they did.
and the same day as Cyberpunk, because it's genuinely the best IP that they have released in years.
The moment I saw the trailer, I'm like, it's OG God of War meets Zelda. How is this not going to be a great game?
It is very Breath of the Wild, and I fell off Breath of the Wild because I was like, my mate was like, get a Switch, you got to play it. And I was like, why do my weapons break? And I know that that's been a subject of much contention, and whether you like that game design decision or not, I don't personally. It just annoyed me, right? So
weapons break is such a dumb mechanic, and I don't understand why people defend it.
Yeah, but I
still love the game, but I hate that.
Oh, it makes you use all the weapons in the game, but there's like what, 4 of the same kind of weapon?
Yeah, you still hit stuff with a stick, whether it's a stick or it looks like a sword. It does the same stuff, right?
Yeah. Jesus.
Phoenix handles it a lot better, so I've been playing that. We've had a Halo 5 revival, which I am also thoroughly enjoying. Playing doubles and ranked matches with some pals that have fallen off the Halo bandwagon a long time ago. I've still got it. Managed to rank Platinum 3 or Platinum 4, something like that, after 4 years of not really playing any actual multiplayer, like forging a lot, but not multiplayer. Mm-hmm. And what else? Elite Dangerous has made a return. I set up the old
VR or
with the Quest. I set up the sticks, and it's a funny story. It's the first game my dad ever showed me when I was a kid. Elite on the BBC Micro, right? So the old wireframe version. So it's a very fond place in my heart. And he grinds it like hell. Now he had access to my account. And when I logged back in, he'd obviously been playing it at some point because I was elite in trade with about 800 million credits. I was like, I'm going to buy me some toys. So thanks, Dad, for grinding my elite save so that I can just have fun. He's 65 or so, and he still just sits there every day because he's retired flying spaceships. I've been able to play a lot of games. But wholeheartedly, if you're sitting on the fence on Immortals, go get it. Go buy it.
What did we give it as a score?
I think I want to say 9.2 from Don 9 out of 10 Cabasa. He needs to review some bad games. It's one of the trials and tribulations of being a small media site, right? It's because everything we do is what we can get, right? And 9 times out of 10, if you can get a game or you choose to buy a game to play it, you're going to buy it because you like the genre already. So it skews some stuff to the more positive. But the other cool thing, which I thought I'd quickly talk about, is this Xbox Switch that I have been thoroughly enjoying. The Razer Kishi. This was my Christmas present to myself. And I have been challenging myself for this last week. So I completed Immortals via handheld mode. And I will write an article about what my thoughts are on it. And I've been playing a lot of xCloud, trying different bits and pieces. The other Christmas toy I got, which I have to show because we're on a podcast, was this little warthog.
That's the chief in a warthog?
Oh,
Couldn't resist, really. Came with the Halo Infinite game code that I can't redeem for a year or so. So there you go. So yeah.
Wait, seriously? Oh,
really?
Is it
a code for the game
code or something?
It comes with some. I've got it here. I've stuck it in my wallet. I'll probably forget about it in a year's time.
God, I thought you meant a code for the actual game.
Comes with a little redeemable code at the bottom here. I don't know what it gives me to redeem, but I can redeem something in a year or so whenever it comes out. So yay.
If the code's still good.
I'm hoping, yeah. That would be a bit sucky. This is no longer valid. What? Yeah. So unusual long answer for me because I've actually got to play some games over the last couple of weeks. Good times. But it's not been a quiet start to the year. We won't talk about the other reasons it's not been quiet. One thing that we've all been discussing when we talk about what we've been playing is the forums community game of the year choices. If you're a member of the forum, or if you're listening and you're not, you've got 8 days as of the recording date, so 7 by the time you're listening to it tomorrow, to join the forum and post your lists for your votes for Game of the Year, and then they'll be tallied and we'll see what the community thinks. And just to be clear, although we are Xbox Era, we all play all sorts of video games on all sorts of devices. Anything is eligible as long as it came out this year. Plus we've got extra votes in there for your favourite publisher and your favourite ongoing game, so things like Destiny, Sea of Thieves, etc., Fortnite, so on. So head over there and check it out. There's some interesting lists already. I'm hoping it's going to grow year on year as we get there.
Yep,
indeed.
Looking back on 2020,
we also had the website's Game of the Year, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, yes. We did our staff top 30 pick, which was again another quite eclectic mix. Why don't
we do like a little summary here? Because I didn't get to participate in the staff post, so I don't know. What were your guys' top 3 games of 2020? Ooh. They don't have to be games to make this a bit broader. They don't have to be games that were released in 2020, but some of your favorite games you played in 2020.
Well, if it's games I played in 2020, Ori and the Will of the Wisps was my personal game of the year.
That was my number 1.
Yep. I think that was the general staff's number 1 as well.
It was. I linked it to Thomas and said, hey,
you won.
Don't worry. We gave you a game of the year. Don't worry.
We got you, fam.
We got you back, man. Don't worry about it.
We got his back.
I think for me as well, from a pure technical innovation and kind of like a whole, the next level of game meets technology, Microsoft Flight Simulator had a big shout out from me for just what a masterpiece of innovation that was. And I would probably say Immortals Phoenix Rising would be right up there for me. And then the game I've been playing, obviously Sea of Thieves, like throughout the year, that's kept me sane, man, every week.
Yeah,
it's a good time to sit
Ori,
down.
Tetris, Streets of Rage.
Tetris, which Tetris? The Tetris Go?
Tetris Effect Connected.
Okay.
I'm sure if I played
Tetris 99? Have you played any Tetris 99?
I play Tetris 99 all the time. As a matter of fact, I still need to go back to it because there's a Kirby theme event at the moment. So I've got like 60 out of the 100 points I need for that theme. But I'm sure if I played Immortals, it would be in my top 3. I know I'm going to love that game. But I'm waiting for that sale. It went on sale after like a week for like $60.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm plowing through my backlog at the moment and playing so many games. There's no point getting Immortals. I'm not going to get to play it. And then by the time I get to play it, it'll be on sale for like $30. And I'm going to be annoyed I paid $60 for it. So I'm holding on.
Part of me wants to say, oh, man, like get it so that, but then it's Ubisoft, so why do we need to reward them? But at the same time, I really don't want this IP to die.
I know.
My kid saw me playing it and demanded a go, and once I completed it, I put the disc in his Xbox because he's got a 1X, but same discs, great. And it's got a story mode where the combat is super easy, everything recharges, life's great, and he can just play through and enjoy it. It's great. I hope he enjoys it. What about you, Figments? What were your top 3 if you had to pick?
So let me do this more formally. Number 3 was probably going to be Tetris Effect, because I didn't think I'd get sucked into it, but there was a point. There's a point where you played so much Tetris, like you start seeing where blocks would fit in real life. I got to that point several times, and I'm not proud of it. But oh man, the music in Tetris Effect is good. I always, every time I do the marathon run, I always play Pharaoh's Code. It's probably my favorite song in the game. And
I think the jazz level for me, the where it's all like I can't remember. It's like a gold and black one. That's a really cool level.
Yeah. So Tetris Effect would be number 3. Number 2, Modern Warfare, which didn't come out in 2020. It came out in 2019. But I played that game so much over all of 2020 that it's frankly ridiculous. I think I have about 60 days worth of time in that one game alone. And that's playing it almost every night for an entire year. I didn't stop really until a couple weeks before Black Ops came out.
And have you gone right back to it?
No.
After Black Ops,
I haven't.
like, oh no, okay.
No, not even Black Ops. Black Ops just sucks.
Yeah.
And, you know, Treyarch can put my words on a plaque to hang in their office. Because honestly, they just need to go away from Black Ops, for God's sakes. It should have just been called Cold War. But
yeah, probably.
But my number one, which is weird to say because I've been complaining about this game so much over the last 3 months, is Destiny 2.
Wow.
And like, okay, any like proper fan of a Bungie game will know that you love the game so much when you complain about it all the time.
Yeah.
I know that's a common thing in the Halo community.
Yep.
And and it's so far a very common thing in the Destiny community because, oh my God, like there's so many problems with the game, but I have like 1,000 hours cumulatively and probably 200 of those in the last like 2 months. And I'm just like, I can't stop playing.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends that play Destiny 2, man, and you know they know that the problems exist, but I think fundamentally
it's the potential. It's the potential of the game. You know,
I don't know. I'd argue it's the times with friends that make it count. Like I know
the
problems with Sea of Thieves, but it's not what the problems are outshone vastly by. It's just a big sandbox for us to go play. Destiny's a little bit more structured, but I think that's
Destiny is the only game I've ever played where I can be absolutely like cursing Bungie one moment because Crucible is fundamentally broken, and when they introduced stasis in Beyond Light, it like completely decimated the PvP meta, like all the way top, bottom, left, right, doesn't matter. It's just broken. But then I get an exotic sword that lets me abuse the momentum mechanics in the game and literally slingshot myself all the way across a map in like a button combo. And I'm like, oh my God, I love Bungie so much right now. It's just, I don't know. And then there's the raids, Deepstone Crypt. I actually played that a couple weeks after it launched. It's the first time I've ever done that for a raid. And oh my God. Have you guys heard the soundtrack for that?
No.
I don't think you guys have.
Don't play Destiny.
Look up the song, and when you have time, look up the song Deepstone Lullaby. Oh my God. It is absolutely crazy. It happens like after the second raid encounter, you have a jumping puzzle period where you're traveling to the final boss like stage of the raid, and the entire time you hear the song playing while a robot AI that's like 3,000, 4,000 years old curses at you for interrupting and for like disturbing the Deepstone Crypt, and how the wrath of God will be upon you for doing this. And then the final fight is literally like part of the final fight is literally crashing the space station into the planet and then fighting this giant shank monster.
Sounds very Bungie.
Oh my God. It was like that raid was insane, and I don't know.
See, the highs outweigh the lows, right? That's
oh my God.
You do you, man. It's all good.
Probably my best moment of 2020, to be honest.
That's the kind of fun that video games can provide. We also did, as part of, just at the end of the year, we did our 2020 year in review where we actually shared some stats from XboxEra over the last year, which has been it's been more highs than lows. Like we obviously had some low points, speaking of Bungie. But we've seen we're super humbled, really. I think fundamentally more than anything else, because we've seen, we've got over 1,500 forum members. Our community on the forum is remarkably wonderful, as in very few idiots. Because look, it's the internet. Idiots are a dime a dozen. But even then, the forums sort of self-moderating tools, because if you're listening to this and you're not on that forum, you might be used to stuff like Zen4o, which I think both Gaff and Recessora use, and our forum software has some really neat self-moderation tools where if you report a post, it doesn't just alert one of us in the moderation team. It actually, if enough people say that is ridiculous and it shouldn't be allowed, it's gone from existence. It just hides
it
so that the conversation can continue without people quoting it and talking about it, and the cycle of responding to the troll continues, and it makes our lives so much easier. When we started, I think I won't say who it was, but they warned, it's a lot of work running a forum. Yeah, it is, but it's been actually super rewarding rather than mentally draining. So massive thank you to our community for that, and obviously our YouTube channel is doing really well. Our website's been refreshed. We've had a good year, I think. I'm pleased with where it's going, and we're even more excited to what is really effectively the launch year now of the new Xbox, and what their sort of what their vision is going to. That's going to be playing out this year, and it's going to be exciting to see it. There's lots of cool stuff to look forward to. So yeah, it's been really good.
This year is going to be great.
It's going to be mental. There's so many games delayed from last year that it's just stacked. Like I don't know how we're going to cover them all.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see Halo Infinite. To be honest,
yeah,
I really hope 343 knocks it out of the park graphically.
Yeah,
like if they've already knocked it out of the park campaign wise, according to Joe Staten, I mean, he's probably biased considering he worked on the dang thing.
Well, he hadn't until he played it through, and then he was like, "Yeah, this is."
Oh, I was about to say, no, he hadn't worked on it.
Oh, hadn't he?
No.
Oh, wow.
He's been pulled in as the ringer to kind of, I guess, get the job done. He's the Rod Ferguson for 343 right now, right? He's in there to.
God,
he knows.
It's a wonder why they didn't. It's a wonder why they didn't just try and get him like in the studio like at the beginning. To be honest, well, like I know he was working at Bungie for a while for Destiny, but then when he got cut, it's a wonder they didn't like try and get him into 343.
He might have already had other projects. He might not have wanted to.
That's true.
Bungie wanted to stop working on Halo for a reason, but to be fair to Joe, like I don't know if you've seen a picture of him recently. Like in my head, I pictured Joe Staten on stage demoing Halo 2, and he looks like 10 years younger than I look now. And now he's like 40 plus. He's been around for a while, but it is definitely it's registering hope in me that I think that they, despite the fact they wanted to launch the console with the game, they knew the game was more important and the console could survive a year without it. And that makes me super hopeful for what Halo is going to actually end up being.
Yeah,
and
he did say Halo Infinite's campaign it's looking pretty decent so far, right?
I think he said it was stellar or it was astounding. I can't remember what word he used, but yeah,
so it's literally just
salivating.
The graphics that are the problem then.
Yep, definitely the biggest game this year. I think. I know they said Horizon Zero Dawn. No, Forbidden West. Sorry, I get them confused.
Forbidden West
is meant to be coming out this year, and God of War 4. Or God of War 2,
I don't think God of War is a 2021 game.
No chance.
God of War is an early 2022 game.
Yeah.
I can figure as long as Forge comes batteries included for you, John, I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be happy.
Speaking of batteries included.
That's
a very well played segue there, so I've got to give you props for that one. A hilarious rumor emerged this week, which we actually posted this and discussed it in our Discord when we were talking about news articles to post, and we said that's nonsense and just refused to post it. Was that Duracell had a forced deal with Xbox, which is why the Xbox controllers use
controllers have batteries.
Like, come on. No, they have a marketing deal.
What? I mean, there's a few reasons why I doubt this is true. I think Microsoft's already denied it anyway.
Yeah, they've said no.
But the Elite version 2 exists.
Yep.
So if this was a hard in concrete deal, then why does the Elite 2 have an internal battery? 2, you can't force people to buy Duracell batteries. If anything, Eneloop has made all the money out of this deal because everyone buys Eneloops. So it's just, it makes no sense whatsoever. Having said that, even if it was real, I hope it is, because external batteries are better than internal batteries. So
I kind of agree with you.
The thing is, they immediately add to the longevity of the device.
Yeah,
that's
instantly.
Right. Like
there's no costly repairs. There's no trying to source a specific battery because they're always obviously all custom. So it's now just you have a controller. Its batteries are dead. Pop the cover. Put 2 new AA's in. You're good to go. You're fine.
Guess what?
You're back off to the races.
I still have 360 controllers that are like old as hell, and I can keep using them in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Like, as long as the controller itself doesn't break, I can keep using them. I am absolutely panicking about my PlayStation 3 because at some point, those internal batteries on the DualShock 3s are going to die, and it's already impossible to get brand new DualShock 3s now, let alone in 5 years, 10 years, whenever. Like, I don't understand. Like, my only conclusion is that it has to be a fanboy console war thing. Yeah. People that prefer internal. Like, the majority has to be console wars because there's no other logical reason for it. Like, you either have to buy two controllers so that you don't have to wire up your wireless controller. Yeah. Or you have to wire up your wireless controller, which defeats the purpose of everything. Yeah. Like, I just don't...
Yeah, and there's also... Okay, to be fair, some people are just like coming from it from a angle of, I'd rather have the more convenient option for me. But it's like, do you want the more convenient option now or the more convenient option in 10 years if you still have the box? I think I'd rather have the more convenient option in 10 years when I still have the box and I can just pop in a new pair of AA.
I think as well, like, there's so many, first party and third party battery pack things that you can get that it's moot, right? If you don't want AA's, use the ones that come with the console, wear them down, wait for £20 worth of
power I think pack. A lot of it can be alleviated, though, is if instead of Duracells, Microsoft bundled every console and its controller with the Play and Charge kit. I think that'll leave a lot of concern.
But that's the thing; they're giving people the choice, right? You can play your console out of the box.
The choice would still be there, but at least it comes with a chargeable solution. So
but that's a money thing. Yeah. Like, think about it. Think about how many controllers Microsoft makes, and think of the cost of putting that rechargeable battery pack versus just a set of AA's.
Like, that's
a lot of money.
They took out
millions and millions of controllers.
The little audio. I can't remember. Is it an SPID? The little audio thing for like most modern sound systems, they took that out of the new series of consoles. They did the same on the PS5 for cost reasons.
You mean the SPID?
If we're putting in a £30 part or whatever it is retail, it ain't going to happen. But I will say, that is the reason why, and I think that Duracell guy was probably taken a bit too literally. Yeah, there's obviously a marketing deal. And that's, Duracells are included when you buy a new Xbox console. But that's the end of this. It's just such a stupid story.
It wouldn't be the reason why they still use external batteries.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Because like I said, the Elite 2 exists.
Like, the thing is, like, why would it be like Duracell's deal with Microsoft is just to put two AA's in the packaging? Why wouldn't it be like Duracell's deal with Microsoft is to build the battery in the controllers? Yeah.
It's weird, right? Yeah. It's very odd. But that's not the only amusing anecdote to come out of the last couple of weeks. The other one was, and I actually can't remember the details on this, so I'm hoping Nick or Figments, you'll be able to save me with this, was the interesting oral history of Xbox article. Who was it? Was it Video Game Chronicle or I can't remember who posted it.
I can't remember, but there was a few details that came out of it, and there was interviews with like Seamus Blackley and stuff like that, and that it showed back in '99 how they tried to buy Square Enix, or would have been Square back then.
Yeah, and EA.
Was Square Enix in '99? It wasn't Square Enix in '99,
no, it was just Square.
Yeah, and how they tried to buy Nintendo. And
Enix didn't come until later.
The thing is, I thought that was already known. Like, I knew that they tried to buy all of those, and I don't understand why it came round again with the news cycle. I was like, this is old
news. I don't know. But, I mean, look, that's not the only time they've tried to buy Nintendo. Microsoft has tried to buy Nintendo numerous times, as recently as the last 10 years.
Wow.
They continually try to buy Nintendo, and they never do.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell to Microsoft if I was Nintendo either.
Oh, my God. And then the story, you think about it, though, like, they were trying to buy Nintendo, because obviously Nintendo was not going to fail to Sony, and they arguably didn't. They're still around. But then you look back at the stories of them thinking about acquiring Sega, and Microsoft's like, oh no, that'll never work. It's like, why not? You tried buying Nintendo, for God's sakes. Well, just buy Sega.
It's interesting because the Sega rumors are still to this day.
I know, they still persist. I don't know why.
I think the Sonic Blue Xbox controller that we're actually using today as our background is one of the big reasons.
The only thing I can assume is that, like, I was told a while back that they looked at Sega and walked away. They did have a real genuine look at Sega, and they were like, no, not interested. The only thing I can think of is maybe it's persisting because people are like just waiting for Sega to be on the verge of like closure, and then Microsoft just come in and snap them up for next to nothing or something. I don't know. Like,
it's an odd one. Like, I think.
But here's the thing: if there's an offer put on the table from Apple, Google, or Amazon to buy Sega, all the Yakuza games are going to go away from Game Pass. So Microsoft obviously has to sweep in and buy the company so they can keep the Yakuza.
But like, if you're Microsoft, if you're Microsoft, I don't know why you wouldn't buy Sega for the IP alone.
And the PC developers.
Like, just for the IP, I don't understand why you wouldn't buy Sega. And then you'd be getting Relic, who's your RTS studio. And then you're getting Sonic, who is one of the biggest outside of Mario. You're getting a great studio in Creative Assembly. Unbelievable studio.
Atlas. All of Atlas.
All of a sudden Persona, all of a sudden, like, I just don't understand.
Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, Devil Summoner, all those games on
just seems like
on
a
Xbox.
very odd. Like, they could do it if they wanted to, and they're not. And it's weird.
I'll put it this way: if it gets to the point that Sega is in acquisition, because they're a publicly traded company owned by Sega Sammy, right?
Yeah, but look, as much as it breaks my heart, being who I am, Sega is not long for this world.
Right, but here's my point: is if Google, if it gets to that, the players that are waiting in the wings, Google, Apple, Amazon, who have yet to make any real Tencent, they're going to come in and Microsoft's going to be a part of those talks because they're in that industry, and this is so crucial for people to understand, is you can't think with your 2013 hat on anymore. This isn't Xbox, the only cool brand Microsoft has, trying to do enough in their budget. This is Microsoft pushing gaming as a core pillar of their business. It is different. I don't know if
especially now that part of Satya's bonus is tied to Game Pass,
right? So people are gonna, and this is gonna be hilarious watching this narrative change. Is that Microsoft they're not just in it to just be in it. They're in it to win, right? And be a profitable business. Yeah, they won't care, and they probably still, even if they start winning, which I doubt they will from a home console perspective, the sales war that everyone seems to care about, but their impact is on another level compared to anything that Sony can come up with. It just is, right? Which is why you're seeing Sony sticking to their bread and butter, because they know it works for them, and they know they have a very frighteningly at times loyal fan base that just creams their jeans over everything they do.
Honestly, though, if it ever comes down to
over the same game reskinned over and over,
if it ever comes down to
I think that's like
that Sega gets picked up by someone, I think everyone would rather it be Microsoft, because at least then they have a chance to retain their identity.
Yeah.
As Sega.
Well, I mean, it's the same as Bethesda. Like, of all the people that were looking at Bethesda, surely Microsoft is the best option. I think EA is the second best option, but like Microsoft is probably pretty comfortably the best option with Bethesda, because it means you're still getting their games on PC, you're getting the games on Xbox,
and Bethesda streaming gets to keep their identity as Bethesda, and not just Whereas if it was Amazon or Google, they'd be absorbed. They'd be gone.
And if it's Sony, it means everything just gets locked away to PlayStation. No PC. No other consoles. Like, at least with Bethesda, there's a chance you'll still get some stuff on Switch too.
I think Sony will start playing with PC a little bit more. Because
they will.
They know they're leaving money on the table.
Because at some point they have to. They're going to be forced to, because every other major player, like gaming, is just going to transition over to cloud gaming at some point. It might take 10 years, but it's going to get there. And if you aren't starting to build. If you don't start building the infrastructure now and building the confidence now, then no one's going to trust you when the time comes, and suddenly you're being replaced by Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. you know.
Well, this is the thing,
Apple,
and that's
if Apple ever gets their shit together.
That's one of the reasons I picked this up, was because I wanted to see how tenable playing games that I like was remotely. And I've done a combination of remote play, single player, I've done some multiplayer. I'm challenged myself to a week solid of all my gaming has to be on this device and nothing else. And I'm going to put a video and my thoughts together, not only talking about the actual Razer Kishi, which is pretty cool, but I have some issues with it. It's definitely the best solution compared to the Clip. But yeah, I'm super intrigued to see where that goes, because it's particularly for the types of games that Sony makes, funnily enough, that don't require the quick reflexes of like a Halo 5 multiplayer.
The irony of it.
But if you wanted to do a Destiny raid and you wanted to do your daily or whatever it is, or you want to play an RTS or a turn-based game or a little arcade game, there's so much potential here that is really interesting. So yeah, I'm intrigued by the future, and I don't think it'll ever replace it, because I think there is something to be said for that big screen at home experience with your headset on and
of course,
playing multiplayer.
And honestly, again, like I trust Microsoft more in that situation.
Yeah, 100%.
with acquisitions. Like at this point, I don't trust Sony. I don't trust Apple. I don't trust Google. I don't trust Facebook. I don't trust Amazon. And we all know every single one of those players is getting into it.
Yeah.
Well, Nintendo bought Next Level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, I didn't actually realize Next Level weren't already a Nintendo studio.
But
the question is, they are now. So
the question is, do you trust Microsoft to also implement haptics in the controllers?
True.
Because they're looking in it. They're looking into it. And this is another nice segue into topic.
That was a bit more obvious.
Something.
That was a bit more.
Well, this is sort of two topics. This is sort of two topics in one, because someone found some patents from 2017 for Microsoft looking at force feedback triggers.
Yeah.
Which I think people actually found back then.
Someone's going to have to explain this to me, because hasn't Xbox had force feedback triggers since the launch of the Xbox One with the rumble triggers?
They call them rumble triggers, but force feedback.
Is that not the same as force feedback?
Well, no, because force feedback, like I've got the force feedback steering wheel, and it doesn't just rumble, it's force feedback. Like it actually fights against you. So Sony's called it adaptive triggers. Microsoft's called it force feedback triggers. And the funny thing is, when you look at what they're doing, force feedback's actually the better name. The funny thing is, I don't want force feedback triggers. The adaptive triggers are the worst part of the DualSense controller. The haptics are the best part of the DualSense controller.
Honestly, it just introduced... This is the same concern I had with the Xbox One rumble triggers. It introduces another moving part to break.
Yeah, I know.
I just turn that stuff off
to replace it.
Yeah, I know.
Point. Especially for multiplayer
and it's already come out that apparently a lot of people, their adaptive triggers are failing on them, which I said ages ago. I'm like, there's a little motor in there where it's fighting against you while you're pulling that trigger. It's bound to be the number one point of failure in that controller long term.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand it. And the funny thing is, if it added something great to the experience, then I'd say, okay, cool. Those adaptive triggers are actually annoying as hell. Like in Fortnite, they annoy the crap out of me.
They're good in Astrobot, though, right?
I heard a lot of complaints.
In Astrobot, they're not bad, but it's the haptics in Astrobot that are amazing.
I've heard a lot of people who've like mentioned complaints about Black Ops' implementation of force feedback triggers being incredibly distracting. Actually makes you worse at the game because now you have to fight your controller to play it.
That's right.
And just puts you at such a stark competitive disadvantage that most people just turn it off. So it's like cool for 5 seconds, and then after that, it's completely useless because I need to actually play the game and do good.
That's right. I think I already said it. The first time I played Fortnite, it was obviously turned up to the default setting, and like I could barely shoot, and I was wondering why my bloody gun wasn't shooting, and it's because I wasn't pulling the trigger hard enough. And like I had to put some serious force into that just to get one shot off. And like anyone who plays competitive shooters, you want to be able to just shoot quick. Like you don't want to sit
my
there
Elite controller is on the shortest travel for the triggers for a reason.
But Nick, you missed the point. In Fortnite, you're not supposed to shoot them. You're supposed to build a 7-story building.
Yeah, you're supposed to build a hotel. As soon as you feel a bullet whiz past, you become a 5-star hotel, just like that.
But help me out here. So I just want to get this story straight, right? This patent was discovered for these force feedback triggers, which is effectively the toughness to pull the trigger, which is very similar to the adaptive triggers in the DualSense.
Against you. That's what it's doing.
If memory serves, didn't Microsoft also? There were some surveys that were sent out that said, "Hey, how do you feel, community, about missing these on the Xbox?" Right? Is that accurate?
I think they were asking questions about the haptics.
Gyro, haptics, a couple other things, but I can't remember. Gyro should be in an Xbox controller, and I'm honestly sad that it's not in Xbox controllers yet. Like, that should be an industry standard. The moment Xbox puts it in their controllers and that controller is shipped to every owner with the box, it's done. People will start implementing Gyro en masse.
What I've realized after playing Days Gone on PlayStation 5 and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, the reason I personally believe Gyro hasn't become a standard is the gap between when it's well implemented and poorly implemented is
very
huge.
Thin.
Like in Days Gone, it's actually awesome. Like it's done so well in Days Gone, like it's almost perfect. And in Hyrule Warriors, it's pretty good. Like when it's done well, it is great. Yeah. Like, and to the point where I wish Xbox controllers had it. But when it's done poorly, it's so bad. It's horrible. But it's not done well.
It's a very thin line that devs have to walk to get good gyro implementation right. I think my favorite implementation on the Switch is in Paladins. Doom's implementation is way too finicky. And you have to fiddle with the settings a lot just to get it to where you feel it's like where I feel it's right. But the thing with haptics, going back to the haptics thing, as long as I don't put in the triggers, I think I'd be fine with it. Because like Nintendo puts haptics in the controller body, not anywhere near the triggers, and those feel great. Like that's a really nice. It's
one of those things where it's either done really well or not really done at all. Like the only game I've experienced on the Switch where the haptics were done really well was 1-2 Switch, and that's it. And I worry that on PlayStation 5. Astro's Playroom is the only game that's really gonna do it. Like in Astro's Playroom,
like how on PlayStation 4, what was Killzone Shadowfall was one of the only few good implementations of the touchpad.
Yeah, that's it. And now we're stuck with that touchpad like forever. As a result, like it's just, and that's why I think Microsoft has always erred on the side of caution with that. Like Rumble.
They're very conservative.
Rumble is Rumble. You can't really do bad Rumble. You can't really do good Rumble. Rumble is Rumble. So it's just standard. Everyone has it. All these other new things, when they're done well, they're great. But they also get done really, really poorly. And when they're done poorly, they borderline detract from the experience.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't see them all get adopted like en masse.
Yeah. The other reason I think you'll find that Microsoft didn't put things like gyro or haptics or whatever newfangled feature, not just cost, it's their focus was definitely on the hardware rather than the pad, but it's also their backwards compatibility and their xCloud initiative, because those things and the extra latency that they would introduce would be significant. And I think,
but that only really matters in a situation where gyro becomes the de facto standard for.
That's not quite what I mean. So, say xCloud does everything they want to have happen. Now, from an xCloud perspective, if you have games built around it, because PlayStation at the moment have games built around it, right? Suddenly those games aren't playable on your phone in the way that they are on the console, and either you have to
built around what? Built around what?
Built around, gyro and haptics and adaptive triggers, unless you've got the pad for xCloud. If you're playing on your phone.
Hold on a second.
Or with this.
Hold on a second, please. Hold on a second. I posted a video on Twitter of me playing Astrobot on my phone with a DualShock 4.
I know.
Which does not have haptics.
I know this, right? I'm just saying, if they pushed all that technology in, it would make the experience between the two, because they're trying to have it's one experience wherever you go, right? It muddies the messaging, in my opinion, and I think they went for gamers know this, they like this, it's simple, it's cheap, stick with what we know. I think when we're getting these surveys coming out, maybe it's some considerations for the Elite Series 3.
Yeah, I was about to say it'll be the Elite. The Elite Series 3 will have all of it.
Yeah. But I don't think it will be anything else. But then that just suggests to me that there'll be very little take up on the actual feature set that is pointless anyway.
I think Gyro should be a thing, because it's just the problem. The problem I have with the statement that you're making, John, is that like it's disregarding the fact that Gyro implementations are basically just about aiming. Mm-hmm. Like there's very few where they build the game around the existence of Gyro, and of those few, it's like, who cares? These aren't games you're going to be playing on a mobile. It's an aiming option.
It's an aiming
option.
And
like in the first-person shooters, like when you're playing locally on a Series X, if I wanted to be able to adjust my aim better than an analog can adjust it for me, then I'm going to want Gyro, because then I can do those quick tuning adjustments.
Don't get me wrong,
where I need to be.
I'm not against any of the features coming to the console at all. I'm just trying to theorize somewhat as to why it was like.
I think the main problem that's to be concerned about is a widening skill gap. Not to say people who play with Gyro are going to be any more skilled, but having Gyro on your side is the closest approximation to a mouse console has ever seen. And when it's implemented properly, like people just almost compete on the same level as a decent PC mouse and keyboard user with a controller in their hands. And it's like, let's say Black Ops has a really good Gyro implementation or whatever. Like the skill gap between the people who aren't using Gyro and are using Gyro will be like widening almost every day, because there's no way analog can compensate for that. And I think adding that in is inevitable because people want that inevitable raising of the skill ceiling.
Yeah.
They want new competitive options.
I'm not against it at all, right? I just think it is because they haven't from off the gate, straight off the bat with the new release, they haven't reset. Anything they introduce now is an add-on. Ergo, support for it is going to be limited. And if you look at how consoles launch and what they end up as, it's often a million miles away from what the original goals were, right? Whereas this, for the first time, this console is laser focused on just games. There's no silly add-on. There's no gimmick. It is just games that are the best that they can possibly perform. And I think that's the right course, but
yeah,
I don't know. I question how much PS5 support you're going to see for all the cool features unless they take off.
If we see any new features added to the controller, it's going to be the Series X Pro or whatever. It's going to the Series X2. I don't know what they're going to call it.
I think it'll be the
Series XX.
But I think you're not going to see things like a Slim as much as you would do previous generations, because
considering like they managed to get it as small as it is right now, and very tight engineering budgets.
Yeah,
like the Series S. I don't know how much smaller a Series S could get.
Yeah,
a Series S could get to the size of an Apple TV. Let's go that way.
There was
the Series S, I assume. I mean, the PS2 Slim is one of the smallest consoles I've ever seen, and I doubt the Series S could get that small.
Well, that's the thing. There was a really interesting article on Digital Foundry, and I can't remember the exact specifics, but I could swear that there was elements in there where they're discussing, how much smaller these can get with Jason Ronald, and he was like, in the next 5 years, not much, just because of manufacturing processes, etc., etc. So it was about getting it right out of the gate now, which is why we've got what we've got. But yeah, interesting stuff. What were some other things that we were floating around
Ubisoft?
In the news the last couple of weeks? Yes, Ubisoft. Ubisoft Plus potentially coming to Xbox. Now, this was entertaining to me for a couple of reasons. One is we'd heard this rumour before the Game Awards and actually included it in our predictions video because we'd heard enough on it to be semi-confident in it, but not enough to actually report on it. because we've learned our lesson, funnily enough, about reporting on rumours.
It's funny. I was tempted. So I've shown John the receipts on this. I was told about Ubisoft potentially going into Game Pass back in October of last year, and I had been tempted to bring it up as a rumour mill, but the problem was nothing was concrete. Even my source was like, I don't know what's happening with the negotiations. I have no idea if it's Ubisoft Plus coming to Game Pass, if it's Ubisoft's games coming to Game Pass, if it's some other kind of deal. They had no idea. All they knew was Ubisoft and Microsoft are in talks about something. Yeah. And that was back in October. You've seen that DM. I've shown you that DM back in October. And I said nothing, because if I'm not told to say anything, I won't say anything. So then all of a sudden I started, Jez mentioned that he's heard something about it. So I'm like, okay, so maybe this is legit.
Yeah. And it's not
still don't know.
Yeah, it's not just Ubisoft, right? The likelihood is that Microsoft has had a conversation with every single major developer partner that they have about what can we do to bring your products into Game Pass, because they want to beat every other single player to the punch, right? And that's why you're seeing this big moves in terms of acquisitions. And you just have to look at Netflix for this, right? When Netflix was starting out, they made a bunch of deals. They had all the Disney property stuff, Then they were like, oh, God, Netflix are making loads of money, even though they're weirdly not, if you actually look at it on a broader point of view. So all these services that had signed deals suddenly went, we need a streaming service, which is why we now have 30 of them. And all of that content is being yanked away. But it doesn't matter so much, because Netflix, aside from Disney, because they got the serious clout in terms of properties and IP, none of the other services are competing with Netflix, because Netflix was first, and being first is pretty important. And I think Microsoft is pretty much making the same move, right?
Yeah.
EA on their own don't have enough, they don't produce enough, they don't have enough variety to support a subscription service on their own, which is why suddenly Origin was like, let's go back to Steam, let's go to Microsoft, let's do all these things. Does Ubisoft have enough to do that? I would argue they're in the same boat as EA. They make bigger games, but they're all very similar games, you know. I think that's the route and that's why there's so many talks going on. So I don't expect.
I don't know how it's going to turn out. Like, because Ubisoft Plus, or whatever it's called, Uplay Plus, that's $15 a month on its own,
because you get games day one, which I don't think is going to be the case for Game Pass.
Yeah, it's unlikely that this is going to be Uplay Plus being part of Game Pass, because then Game Pass becomes more expensive, obviously. Yeah. And then at that point, why wouldn't you just subscribe to Uplay Plus separately? Yeah. Like, it's just like the reason why the EA Play thing is good is because it just got absorbed straight into it. No extra cost, nothing.
Yeah, because it's a vault of games.
Yeah, if it's not that, then I don't know what else makes any sense. Like, to me, the only thing that makes sense to me would be Ubisoft's back catalogue of games up to and including, say, 2019 coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, effectively, Ubisoft copying EA's Play Vault. 6 months, 12 months later, it all comes.
It'll come to Game Pass, yeah.
That would make sense, right? And this is where I'm like, what are these guys with the business hats on in these publishers thinking? Because I don't see, as a consumer, I can't. How many subscribers do we really realistically think Uplay or Ubisoft Plus has? Really,
jack all.
Right? Like, come on. Like, I get there are some really big fans of Assassin's Creed and stuff, but big subscribers, there's not enough there.
Yeah.
There's not enough new. Whereas putting in the third parties, putting in the indies, putting in your own first party stuff and having it day one, that's more attractive.
Would they do it where they work out a deal with Microsoft where it is Uplay Plus, right? So the day one games for, say, an extra $5.
Don't know.
So, hey, if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, for an extra $5, Uplay Plus.
Well, look at how it works on Luna, right? Which is Amazon's beta streaming service, right? It's a channel that you can choose to subscribe to, and you pay for the channel, which obviously then they get the revenue.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think Jez on the Xbox 2 podcast with Rand said something of the effect that, there's talks probably happening with every publisher. Yeah, of course there is. I'm super intrigued to see how aggressive Microsoft is going to be with this because, and there was a really good piece, if you haven't read it, Eurogamer did the year ahead for Xbox, and this is their launch year, right? This is where you'll see the big moves to kind of make a bit of a shift in the market. I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
I'm actually surprised they haven't done a deal with Activision.
Again, Activision.
They managed to get all the CODs backwards compatible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just surprised they haven't done a deal with Acti where it's like, okay, every COD barring the newest one is on Game Pass. I'm kind of surprised.
Maybe they will. That's the thing. There's probably talks going on with everything. And, you look at Activision, Call of Duty, despite I think its one-note repetitive nature, you can disagree with me, it's fine. I can't see... It's almost the FIFA of FPSs, as far as I'm concerned. There's so little that's actually that super interesting. Modern Warfare is a great attempt. I played a bit of it and I thought it was great.
So amazing.
But they're not a company that can ever go the subscription route because they just don't publish enough, man. They just don't.
Nah.
And
but that's why it's better to jump in on Game Pass, though.
So we'll have to wait and see, won't we? It's definitely going to be a E3 if we get an E3, which I hope we do. And by E3, I don't mean a convention.
Last year sucked.
I mean a big hour and a half fireworks, lasers show,
or even
video
just a
games.
week. A compressed week of everything.
Yeah,
even if it has to be digital again, whatever. Like,
I really hope we get
it can't be the way it was last year. That just sucked.
So I guess off of the back of one rumor about Game Pass, we'll just talk about rumors in general. Have you got a rumor mill for us this week?
First one of 2021, and the first one in a long time, isn't it?
I don't know.
I'm excited.
I haven't had a rumor mill for ages, and this is a good one.
I haven't heard what this is, or have I heard what this is? I can't remember.
I don't know if you have you been in the Discord or not lately. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I
mentioned it briefly in the Discord. So this is actually a pretty good one. I've been told that before the end of 2021, I haven't been given firm dates or anything. Just I got told by the end of the year, before the end of the year, Supergiant should be making their return to Xbox with Hades.
God, that's good.
Yeah. I've been told Hades should be coming to Xbox this year, and it might even be launching straight into Game Pass.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Because I was going to buy it on Switch, and then I got a DM saying, "Don't buy it on Switch."
Wait.
I'm like, why? It's coming to Xbox this year. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. It's before the end of the year. Hades will be on Xbox. I'm like, okay, cool.
That is good to know. That is a lovely little tidbit. I wonder if
they haven't been on Xbox for a while, have they?
No, I don't know what happened there because they were like
Bastion and
they were like the poster. They were one of the poster childs of the indie Xbox 360 era.
Xbox Live Arcade.
I wonder if they got screwed out of some money by old school Microsoft and.
I reckon there must have been bad blood there. Something must have.
That sounds like bad blood.
A policy they didn't like, or something like that. Because it seems weird. Because the same thing happened with Braid. Braid, Jonathan Blow got his name with Xbox Live Arcade, and then said piss off to Xbox after that.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't Super Meat Boy, the team behind Super Meat Boy. They also had a really rough time meeting the deadline for their game launch because they were part of a summer game, arcade game fest thing that Microsoft promoted. And if they wanted to be in it, they had to get done by this day, and it just meant a lot of crunch for them and stuff. I remember seeing a documentary where they were not particularly happy with some of the decisions made by them and the advertising and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a few things going on there. Hopefully all that sort of stuff's sorted. But
I think that Spencer's
Game
in charge.
Game Pass is... it's not just that. I think Game Pass has made a big difference with indies. Because we hear a lot of indies talk about how legitimately good it's been for them. And, a lot of indies, someone will try it on Xbox via Game Pass and then go and buy it on Switch or PC or whatever the case may be.
I might actually... I was thinking about guests for 2021. By the way, just on that, there are some really cool guests coming that I can't quite confirm yet because I haven't got a date. But when I have a date, it's going to be good. But one guy I was thinking of that I really wanted to get on, speaking of Game Pass and indie devs, was the very vocal, I think, is it Mike Rose, the guy who works for the publishing team or the development team behind The Descenders, which has had a phenomenal amount of success on Game Pass. I'd love to get him on and talk to him a little bit about some of the stuff he's experienced and what it's like working for MS. That might be a good one to go out and reach out to. So we'll try and do that.
Yeah,
be cool. But yes, I would love to see Hades come to
Yeah,
Game
same
Pass.
here. Because like I said, I was ready to buy it on Switch and I got told not to. So I can wait.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Cool. And I guess, we're just over an hour into the first podcast of 2021. And obviously that means community questions. But before we do, I have to give a shout out to our wonderful patrons. So a big thank you to everybody that supports the XboxEra team. You are all wonderful. But our tier 2s and 3s, mad respect for helping us run the site and run the community and fund everything and all the servers. So for the Scarecrow 121, Torn Raptor, Shadowgasm, Sowing Shade, Blaster Base and Nottian, you are all wonderful and thank you for supporting us. And without further ado, we will go to you patrons, and just as a heads up for anyone listening or watching us on YouTube, if you want a guaranteed, because we get so many now across Twitter, the forums and our Patreon, that we obviously want to look after the people that are supporting us directly. So if you want to have a guaranteed question asked every time we do a podcast, come and support us on Patreon and help us make that happen. We were going to start having to cherry pick some of the ones that we get on the forum and on Twitter because
we've got a lot this week.
Good Lord, we've got so many we could probably go on for another hour because as you guys all know who are listening to us, we love to talk and talk we can. And we do, and the tangents continue, and then it's before I know it, it's 3 a.m. So without further ado, I'll hand the microphone over to Mr. Shpeshal Ed. Who have we got first?
Okay, so we got Torn Raptor from Patreon. Hi guys, Happy New Year. What licensed properties that are currently not being used would you like to see a return to video games? Match your desired IP to your preferred studio. Doesn't need to be an Xbox studio. Example like IO is making James Bond, which was dormant since Xbox 360. My wish is to see the return of Star Trek. I would like it to play similar to Star Trek Elite Force 2 and be made by the Coalition.
That's a great question for one. And it's also a really excellent choice. I miss Star Trek games. I remember playing a few, there was a third person shooter one on, I think it might have been Star Trek Voyager around that time. I'm a bit of a Trekkie, right? That was my Coronation Street in EastEnders. My parents used to watch and brought me up on that. And so I'd love to see that. I think that would be cool.
For the question, do we have to specify whole studios or can they be teams within studios?
I guess if you want to go to that granular detail. I've already got my answer.
Easy.
Yeah, I've already got mine.
Super easy.
I'm going to hog it and go first.
Shadowrun.
Damn it, you beat me to it. Okay.
Shadowrun with Josh Sawyer leading the team. That's what I want.
See, I would go
Obsidian.
with Shadowrun and Arcane.
Yeah, so add Obsidian, but Josh Sawyer's team specifically at Obsidian.
Okay.
Yeah, I would pick Arcane
because I've been replaying Fallout New Vegas on occasion for the past couple of weeks, and I gotta say, I need Josh Sawyer to make another game, please. And I would like Shadowrun.
Well, he's working on another project, but it is not avowed.
Yeah. We don't know what the heck it is.
Is it Outer Worlds 2?
Nobody knows. Outer Worlds 1 wasn't even his game.
Okay.
So
maybe not then.
Yeah, it was I can't remember who led it, but yeah, Josh Sawyer's been working on his own game at Obsidian for a couple of years now, I think.
I'm gonna have to come up with a different answer now because you stole my Shadowrun dreams. Though I would have picked Arcane. I think they could have made a really good.
No, because I don't want a retread of the first person stuff from the Shadowrun game from 360.
Who says it has to be first person? I just mean
I would like
very
a
immersive
traditional
sim style.
I would like a traditional RPG.
Fair enough.
Honestly, just so Obsidian can show CD Projekt Red how to make an actual cyberpunk world that actually is fun to be in.
Well, I'm going to have to sit and think now because I'm going to have to come up with a different one. So, Nick, you said you had your answer already. Ready to go?
Yeah.
Go on.
I've actually got two, and it's by the same studio. Iron Man by BioWare or The Mandalorian by BioWare?
Because of Anthem?
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Anthem is Iron Man. Like, when you play Anthem, that is how Iron Man should play and feel. I want BioWare to make an Iron Man game. That'd be amazing. And they can make The Mandalorian as well.
I'd only accept that if they got Robert Downey Jr. to voice Iron Man.
Yeah.
And they should get Robert Downey Jr., but just those mechanics and that gameplay in Anthem, man, that would make such good Iron Man game.
It's a billion-dollar company. They can afford Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, they can. Easily.
I'm going to have to come up with an off-the-cuff answer that isn't straight what I would think of. So, I'm going to go with Freelancer, which was it's a legacy Microsoft IP that was super cool, kind of like a bounty hunter, Mass Effect style space thing. But I'd love to see. I would probably actually go for like maybe not like an open world type thing, maybe something a little bit more linear but super sci-fi, but where you're very much on your own and forging your path through. So maybe it has to be open world by its very nature, but developer, I would have said maybe BioWare, like the Mass Effect BioWare of old would be a really good fit. But maybe I'd like to see someone that hasn't had a chance to break out and do something original for a while. So maybe the Coalition as well, because they've got really good third person roots. I'd have to give that one some thought, but that's a cracking question. Good work.
We spent a lot of time on that one question. We still got a lot more. Okay, Daniel. Hey guys, Happy New Year. What do you guys think about Microsoft buying public companies? People have mostly focused on private companies, but never public because it's more difficult. I don't think it's impossible with Amazon, Tencent, and Google out there. I don't think it will stop them too. Which public company do you think Microsoft could buy? We kind of talked about this.
We were talking about Sega before. About this, yeah.
We'll talk about Sega before. Another question: what do you guys think about Microsoft putting in a lot more publishers into Game Pass? Like with EA
We're reading your mind.
Uplay Plus. I think it's a smart move because companies like EA can put their old games that don't sell anymore in there and get a monthly fee from Game Pass. For example, EA Ubi could make a deal with Microsoft that they get 50 cents forever every user in Game Pass every month, which would add up considering how many subs Game Pass has and how it's just going up and up.
Yeah.
We basically talked about both of these.
Yeah, we read your mind. Really? Sorry, Daniel.
We kind of did. We talked about Sega because they're public. I mean...
Yeah, if any time a public company immediately becomes, hey, there's interest,
everyone
will be in talks because have to fill these things out. It's just how it works.
And the price goes up.
Yeah.
Because it becomes a bidding war.
Yep.
Which is another reason why Sega is unlikely. Because once Sega's involved, then everyone's going to get involved. Like everyone. Even your EAs and your Activisions, and they're all going to get involved.
Yeah.
Not just Google, Apple, Amazon, Tencent, whatever. And we talked about the Game Pass thing.
Yeah.
We kind of covered it.
Love you, but good question.
The Scarecrow 121. G'day to all. I don't say g'day anymore. Firstly, Happy New Year to you. Second, Nick is the best because he is a fellow Aussie. Yeah, he knows what
I don't like this guy.
Thirdly, do you feel...
Imagine being an Aussie.
Hey, it's better than being in the UK or America right now. Do you feel with the spectre of early announcers... I could walk outside and stuff. It's really good. Do you feel with the spectre of early announcers of games biting Microsoft in the ass in the past that we could be waiting longer to hear of games coming, but with shorter hype cycles, such in the style of Todd Howard announcing 6 months before release?
Yes,
I think
no.
Yeah, I think Microsoft is heading towards that. But obviously, with their issues with first-party games, they've had to announce some stuff earlier than they would have liked. Like, look at Hellblade 2, look at Everwild, look at, I guess, Halo in the end. Yeah. But I think once Microsoft's rhythm starts and picks up, where they're just pumping out game after game after game, like 4, 5, 6 games a year, that's when you will start to get into that cycle of we announce, then it's out. We announce, then it's out. We announce, then it's out.
Yeah.
I think that's... So I reckon come 2022, you'll start to see game is announced in January, out by June.
Yeah.
Game is announced in March, out by August. I think that's when you'll start to see that.
Yeah, and I think because of Game Pass, it doesn't matter about what month it is and whether it's holiday season.
Yeah.
They can be so much more adventurous with their release dates. We won't see these jam-packed end of year, because that's always been a weird Microsoft mandate. And holiday is the most important. Nah, I'm bored every month. Give me a new game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree, Nick. I think they have so many teams now, and there's the great thing is, especially with the ZeniMax acquisition, the team Arcane that developed Prey, they've been very quiet since 2017. What are they working on? It's going to be ready soon. You just don't know what it is yet. We
didn't discuss it, but there were some. I think there was an article published, or there was a few forum threads about
something.
Yeah, one of the directors of something is working on a new IP, something like that.
Yeah, but
Arcane's a cool studio.
Yeah, they said something new. They didn't specifically say new IP, but you could infer that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and this is the thing. Once you get into that rhythm, like Nick says, man, it's going to be
once that ball starts rolling, it's going to get a bit. Like, we're going to start seeing threads of, are Microsoft making too many games? I'm telling you, you'll see it. You're going to see threads being made where they're saying, are Microsoft making too many games? Like,
I prefer Sony's approach of one game a year, because it really paces out the content.
Games. It's 2 games. It's 2.
Oh, that's just too much, dude. I can't keep up. If it's more than one game, I can't keep up.
Yeah,
my wee peanut brain can't understand more than one big game a year.
It's gonna be nuts. But yeah, it's gonna be good.
Hypernova 474, including ZeniMax, which of the new studios do you think will be the flagship Xbox Game Studios? Which one do you think will expand to several teams? Well, for starters, all of them pretty much are several teams now.
Yep. Apart from 343.
I maintain, I've said this before, and I maintain that Microsoft's maybe not biggest, but premier studio or best studio is going to be Ninja Theory. 100% Ninja Theory.
I think they're going to be the art house studio, the one that gets the critical acclaim. No, I don't. I'm not detracting
like
from what
Naughty
you're saying.
Dog.
Yeah.
It's going to be their Naughty Dog or their Santa Monica that makes the visual... Like, look at Hellblade 1, and that was done with, like, the tiniest team.
Yeah.
Imagine, and that's with just whatever their limited budget was. Like, imagine now if they build like that Hellblade team grows to like 100, and they have all those Microsoft resources at their disposal, and oh man, like Ninja Theory is going to be unbelievable. I reckon.
I think yes, if you're focusing on what Microsoft Studio could produce, a Sony style, and I use that term super carefully.
No. But the next question's going to address this.
So, yeah, I would agree with you. I think, though, in terms of, like, genuine, make something unique and make something new and different and challenges because every gen, right, 2013 when it first started, it was a bit like, hey, I've kind of played this. And it took a little while before something came out that changed, and that was PUBG and Fortnite. And you might...
People like to think, like, at the beginning of gens... For some dumb reason,
game
everything
design
changes.
Will be...
like all of a sudden, we're a million light years ahead of where we were, and it's like, no. I'm pretty sure even in the first year of PS2's life, it was basically playing games that you could have seen on a PS1.
Yeah,
for God's sake.
But
nobody knew how to handle the hardware until a couple years down the line.
And that's the thing. So I think if I had to pick a couple, I would say Rare. Like I'm after Sea of Thieves, I get it. It's not for everyone. But it sure as hell does something different, and it did something different, and it is, regardless, like, they have more players in 2019 than 2018, and more players in 2020 than 2019, and it's continuing to get investment because it does something unique. And you can say, oh, it's not for me. Great. I don't care if it's not for you. I like the fact that there are games out there that aren't out from the cookie cutter. They are trying to do, even if they don't succeed, they are at least having a go at doing something a little bit different. So Everwild, I'm super keen to see exactly what it's going to be and if it's going to, challenge my conceptions of what a game should be. I'm super hopeful that the initiative, all of the talent they've got, are they going to go that cookie cutter route, or are they going to really push the boat out because they're building something that's just for the new hardware and for fairly high end rigs? Are we going to see something really, really cool and different there? I hope so. We'll see. But it's a great question. Was there a part 2 to the question? Okay, cool.
So last question from the Patreon. Dio Game. Happy New Year. My question is, what do you feel are Xbox's 3 biggest genre gaps they should try to fill? I.e. horror, JRPG, family, etc. Man, this is so easy to answer. Okay, number 1, kids games.
Yep.
They need more of them. Phil knows they need more of them and has said they need more of them. Number 2.
Just not Banjo.
Over the shoulder, slow walk and talk, narrative driven, sad dad, semi-open world. They need more of that.
Yeah, sadly.
What else? The third one is probably a touch trickier because horror they've got like a Bloobers. I mean, it's all third party though, and they've got Tango now.
Yeah.
So my assumption is that there'll be an Evil Within 3,
and there might even be a Tokyo Ghostwire 2.
Yeah, that's right. So you'd think horror is basically covered.
Yeah.
They've got strategy games. They've definitely got first-person shooters.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue sport, but like, do the main publishers bother with sport with EA? There,
it's just 2K and EA have that covered, and there's
very
little point unless you have the licenses, which is what primarily people care about. That's why why PES doesn't, even though arguably the gameplay is better.
But Nintendo does well with their own sport games. Mario Tennis.
Yeah,
when they had Mario Strikers, they had I still think there is a market for Microsoft, Sony, whoever, to do their own. There were rumors a while back because of Matt Booty coming from Midway. Were they looking at bringing back NBA Jam on Xbox exclusively, something like that? I think there could be a market for
more
Microsoft doing their own extreme sports games. So how you had NBA Street, FIFA Street, and there was Sega Soccer Slam, I think Microsoft could, especially with Game Pass being a thing, they could carve themselves out a nice little niche where they have their own fun extreme sports games, like a Sega Soccer Slam style soccer game, NBA Jam style basketball game. Maybe talk with Ubi about bringing back what was it called? That disc
Steep?
Oh my god. Death something. What was that game?
Descent?
It was on OG Xbox. No, it's a sport.
SSX
oh my
Tricky?
god, No. I can't believe I can't think of this game.
Best Miles?
No. I'm sure. Oh god.
No,
Hold on.
it's too late.
No,
It's too late. We've got to move on. Clock's ticking.
I'm googling it. I don't care.
He's giggling it. Sorry, everyone. I need some intermission music.
I have to know. It's killing me. This name, because you guys have to know this game. You can't not know it.
OG Xbox.
OG Xbox. And I'm pretty sure it was Ubisoft. Death Row.
Death Row.
I knew it. I knew there was Death Row.
Never.
It was actually published by Ubisoft, and it was a OG Xbox exclusive. It was futuristic. You throw the disc around the arena and you beat the crap out of each other, and
okay,
yeah, stuff like that. NFL Blitz, all that kind of stuff. I think there could be a market for that on Xbox, particularly with Game Pass being a thing. I just think maybe that third genre could be sport games.
Fair.
You guys, anything?
I think you covered everything.
Did I cover it well enough?
I think you covered it well enough. I think I can't think of anything.
I just kind of want more experiment. I think the only thing I'd add is more experimental games. Stuff like Dream on the PS4. I would like more of that. Just something weird and different.
Well, that's
that
what
people
I
don't
kind of
expect.
was. That's kind of what I was hinting at with Everwild. I want to see something that's. What is this?
Also, I want them to do. This isn't necessarily just like a game genre, but I want them to like do more bold things with marketing. Like, I don't know why. How about, because now if things are going to be in Game Pass, right? Why not market a game by like doing like a sneaky ARG that starts on the Xbox Game Pass Twitter?
Yeah.
And then you have this month-long quest of people trying to figure out what the heck is going on, and then it's like at the end of the quest, whoever solves all the puzzles, they unlock the game for everyone.
Yeah.
And now you can play this brand new game on Game Pass.
That's the thing.
Like
they can
game.
start to be a lot more experimental because they have an instant base of subscribers. I think the only thing I would add is, and it arguably is already becoming the cornerstone of the return of AA games, is those one and done, trying something out. And the closest thing I can probably put games in this bucket with is stuff like Hazelight, like they do like a Way Out and It Takes Two that's coming out this year, which I think just looks incredible. They're going to be unique, use gaming as the medium that it is, not trying to tell a movie through gameplay, but trying to play a game through gameplay. And that's the stuff that I want to see more of. But I don't know yet what these future designers and clever people are going to come up with. And that's one of the exciting things about being a consumer and a fan of video games is every year I think, what's going to be new for me this year? And this year's going to be something really special. Yeah, it's a good question.
Okay, to Twitter.
We'll try and cherry pick a little here. Sorry, Twitterverse, but we need to,
I don't know. We may be able to answer these real quick if we stop going on tangents. Okay. This first question makes me smile. At Musty Colin. If Microsoft were to bring back Killer Instinct, who do you think would be the studio to develop the game? Well, look, I don't think it'll be Iron Galaxy. Sure. I don't think Iron Galaxy will go back to Killer Instinct.
They're soundly moved on to other things.
Not based on who is now the CEO.
Should have freaking bought Double Helix when you had the chance, Microsoft.
Yeah,
they probably should have, shouldn't they?
Yep.
But the thing is, I've heard that a lot of that team aren't at Amazon anymore anyway. Yeah, so maybe they could find a way to, I don't know.
I
don't know. It would have been handy if they got
Continue.
WB. If they got WB, they could have had NetherRealm do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I doubt there'd be an internal studio that could do it.
Not yet. You need a fighting game studio. You need a game that understands.
They do.
But then,
or they have to outsource
Double Helix
they have to outsource it.
Was not a studio that was known for fighting games, and they really knocked it out of the park, right?
Colin, I know who can make Killer Instinct.
Who?
Dimps.
Who?
Dimps. That's who basically made, was it Street Fighter 4? I can't remember. Dimps. They're basically a fighting game studio.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
They've also made some of the Dragon Ball games. Like, they're a fighting game studio.
It would be good.
And I think they were co-devs on Street Fighter 4, which is still considered one of the best Street Fighters. Dimps. Dimps is who would make Killer Instinct, I think, if Microsoft weren't going to make a studio or whatever. Yeah. Dimps.
I think the IP definitely needs to come back.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe Killer Instinct's not dead. Who knows? Now, at John Gom 17, what's your prediction of Psychonauts 2 release date? Thank you and have a good show. Psychonauts 2 release date. I don't know. It's definitely 2021. And my guess is they will try and get it out as early as possible because I think their first half of the year is a bit barren this year.
Yeah, I would hope for March, April, that sort of time frame.
Yeah, and didn't Tim Schafer basically say they're done effectively?
Content-wise,
and they're
it's
doing
just
end
polish.
credits and da-da-da-da-da. Like, my guess is first quarter one. Okay, at Shoulder Winter. Hey guys, what do you think is going on with global publishing? Good question. What the hell is going on with global publishing? They could have filled in a lot of content gaps that were missing from launch and 2021 while Microsoft Studios were making their games. IPs like Record 2, Banjo-Kazooie, Phantom Dust, and KI2 were sorely needed. Well, I mean, they're doing the visual novel.
At Dusk Falls.
As Dusk Falls. But it's true. Like, I'm surprised there isn't... We've heard nothing much more out of it.
I think... there was someone... Was it Avalanche were working, or there was a job posting for an Xbox role? Now, that's not to say it was an Xbox exclusive. It would just maybe meant that they wanted that particular person to join the team to have experience in Xbox. But I don't think we know what that game is. So there could be something there. I think there are definitely deals in place. It may well be that they weren't ready and they were all affected. You know, I hate saying COVID, but it's caused a huge shift in how the industry has to work. And for an industry that requires creativity, requires to a lot of degrees a lot of close collaboration, having to have everyone in an office effectively by themselves at their homes meant a lot of figuring out how you're going to pull that off.
Yeah.
Moon Studios obviously ahead of the curve there, but for some of these big AAA monsters,
years ahead of the curve.
Tricky to try and pull off, and that's why you've seen so many games come out in some interesting states. Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Okay, at RedX53, what do you guys think of Forza Horizon 5 set in Japan rumors? Well, this is a pretty old rumor.
I think it makes sense.
Given what Forza Horizon games look like, it'll be a stunning game.
Yep.
Yeah. It'll be beautiful.
As far as driving goes, yeah, it could be a nice combo of street racing and open mountain racing, I guess.
Yep.
I've never been to Japan, but I'd love to go.
Yeah, sounds good. I think it's a good rumor.
At Vinny UK, is a Halo Infinite multiplayer beta likely for this year? Yes.
Yeah,
I think it is.
I think if they've got a year delay, man, they made that promise. Bonnie Ross made that promise. It's got to happen, right?
If so, when do you predict it may appear? Has Sikamikanico actively campaigned for a Forge beta instead?
I would love one.
I think there'd be a beta. There has to be, like, it's a year delay. Like, and that was for the visuals of the campaign. Like, surely the multiplayer is further ahead and they can do their beta now.
I can't wait to see, but if you cast your mind back, betas are always super interesting times because the game isn't going to change much, right? So there's going to be a lot of overly critical feedback if they do something large scale, which I presume that they will. I don't know, but there's always Halo's in such an unenviable position in that they have to try and please so many different types of players. You have players that love Halo 5, that love Halo 4, that hate Halo 5, love Halo 3. How do you cross that divide? I don't think you can. There's never going to be a fully pleased set of fans.
You listen to me. That's how you do it.
Well, I think they just have to try and make a
He'll
good
hire
game.
this man.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah,
343 hired me as a consultant. I'd fix Halo. Okay. At Hazardor Gaiman. My gut feel says Starfield, Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite will launch in 2021. But what do you guys think? Okay, Halo Infinite we know will. Starfield rumors
Starfield might.
Yeah, I think
it will.
Maybe we'll see.
I think Starfield might even be pushed. I think we'll see trailers of it this year, and I think Starfield will be pushed early next year. To be honest.
Yeah, I
am going to stick to Starfield 2021. I think it will be end of the year.
See, I would agree with you if Halo Infinite hadn't have been delayed. But Halo Infinite, we now know, there was the tentative tease from Bonnie Ross where she was like, oh, there's an anniversary of a certain Halo game this year, which is the 20th year for Halo CE. And if they're going to aim around that...
be like August.
Well, yeah,
Starfield
maybe.
Could be August or September.
That's fair, but I think because of that COVID impact, I think everyone is delayed. I don't know. I could be right. I'd love to see it. I think we'll definitely see it at E3 or whatever.
Forza Horizon 5, I think that's 2022, and I still think Motorsport's this year.
Interesting.
I still think Motorsport will be 2021, and Forza Horizon 5 will be next year.
Okay.
I think. Don Cabessa, are you scared of how popular You Had Me at Halo is becoming? Do you feel the winds of being the second biggest podcast on the site starting to blow? Now,
there's only 2 podcasts, so you're already the second biggest.
There's only 2 podcasts. So what do you mean?
Given that their most viewed episode is the one I was on, I'm going to go ahead and say no. Okay.
Pro tip, though, before we move on. If you don't listen to You Had Me at Halo and you love your Halo, go and give it a listen. It's in the YouTube channel and available on Spotify. It is a group of guys from our XboxEra staff site team that all love Halo. I would be on it, but I just don't have enough time because I love Halo too.
Just don't listen to Don.
Yeah,
he doesn't have anything to say.
I don't know who he
is.
And
I mean, I'd say listen to Proven, but most of the time his McDonald's Wi-Fi is not very good, so you can't hear him that well.
I have to say though, while the subject of Don Jesse comes up, he has been absolutely slaying it this week. If you've been keeping an eye on the YouTube channel, he's been doing a Let's Play series of Immortals. He has pumped out a number of reviews because he's played a lot. He's been hammering lots of games, so we've got to give him a mad shout out for all the hard work he's put in. So thank you, Don.
Yep. At Roro Chicago. In the latest Double Barrel Gaming podcast, there was talk of Microsoft making a bigger move than Bethesda in 2021. Have you guys heard something similar? No. I haven't.
No.
Myself.
I saw that King Ragnarok on Twitter going, it's going to be bigger. We heard that there were 2 more acquisitions, right? And then there was an acquisition that Microsoft, not Xbox, but Microsoft MSN particularly made of the esports team. The thing is, we heard there were 2. We did not hear any rumours about who they might be or anything of that nature. Lots of theories, but no rumours. But I haven't heard a single smidge of anything bigger than ZeniMax.
Than Bethesda, no. Okay. At Mustafa 200320. What future Xbox Game Studios games are coming out in the near and distant future? What do you guys think will happen when the ZeniMax acquisition is through? Xbox only or also PlayStation? I mean, the second part we've covered numerous times in multiple episodes.
We all think exclusive.
We think most of it will be exclusive. Yeah. I mean, as to the games, I mean, we know. We kind of know what's coming out. We know Psychonauts is this year. We know Halo's this year. I think Starfield's this year. I think Motorsport's this year. And then there'll be some smaller stuff that we haven't heard about yet.
Yeah, you've also got stuff like the Gunk, the Ascent. You've got the Medium at the end of this month. One cool game that I want to give a shout out to, and I'm hoping we can do something and get some advanced copies. If not, we'll figure something out. Is Project Winter, which is basically, I don't want to do them a disservice, but it is kind of Among Us. What am I smoking?
Yes,
Among Us, but with survival elements. But it's obviously a lot more lavish graphically. Looks super interesting. You get to kind of betray your friends. I am really looking forward to giving that a go at the end of the month, and it's launching on Game Pass January 26th. So keep an eye out.
Okay, so that's it for Twitter. We are now finally at the end. We're with the forum questions. Mm-hmm. Now there's 3 posters from the forum. One is a first timer, and each of these posters has like multiple parts. So do I just pick the one that we kind of haven't discussed already?
Yeah, maybe I rename this to community question and not questions.
Yeah, we've been having a trend of people abusing it and going like 50 questions in one post or 50 parts of one question. Or
I love it.
I'm just trying to pick. So
please, concise question.
The first one is Stephen Panyagua. God, I hope I pronounced that right, Stephen. Sorry. He said, "Hello, I hope you guys had an amazing holiday. Quick couple of questions." So he's got 3, and I'm just trying to think which one is the one that I reckon we'll go with his third question because no one's really ever asked about this. We never talk about it much.
Okay.
What do you know about how Techland has been managing the pandemic? They just announced that one of their longtime members has left, and I'm feeling this was more financial pressure than a sign of the game. Techland has seemed to have been struggling since Dying Light 1, even cancelling their second project to make it into Dying Light DLC last year. And that's kind of relevant because the lead writer just left on Dying Light 2. So I thought this might be the better question to go with.
It's a tricky one because I don't know how they have been affected. I imagine much like a lot of the industry, struggling to provide infrastructure to support a work-from-home environment across multiple places. Because you've got to think about it, right? You've got a huge open-world game that you need to test, right? Developer makes a bunch of changes, and I'm totally paraphrasing and theorizing here. Developer makes a bunch of changes or fixes, then they've got to upload them, then it's got to be re-downloaded for everyone in QA to test. As an example, right? How much time do you waste getting that process? Do you have to make sure your fixes are in by that night so the download is kicked off by this time so that it's ready to be looked at this time? Oh, there was a problem, you're offline for a whole day. That kind of snowball, and I don't know, I'm not a developer, but I can theorize that kind of snowball is going to have a detrimental effect on how developers work together to get things done, especially for a game that has seemingly had a few hiccups and is...
I was about to say, they've been spending ages on that game before COVID was a thing, so...
But, to be fair...
I'd say they're struggling.
Yeah, Dying Light 1 was a huge, brand new breakthrough success for them, right? They did very, very well off of it, and there was a lot of hype and excitement for Dying Light 2. So, again, though, breakable weapons.
Okay, so first-time question asker, Jimmy1984, who's been getting some crap on Reset about all the threads he makes.
Bless him.
Poor guy.
You won't get crap from us, Jimmy.
He's got 3 questions, and to be honest, I don't know which one to pick because we've kind of discussed all 3, and we've kind of discussed them even in this episode.
Give us some tentative answers. Hammer through them. We'll give them yes and no.
Well, he's asked, which studios will be acquired this year? Your predictions based on what you heard. We talked about that. We really don't know.
Literally no idea.
And we've sort of spoken about it in other episodes, who we think.
Yeah. Who I'd like.
Who we'd like as well. Number 2, last year there were rumours about Relic's acquisition, but it hasn't happened. Do you think there's a little hope to see something about that in the near future? I mean, Xbox created World's Edge, but they aren't developers, and Age of Empires is a really, really big IP. Well, Relic's part of Sega. And we were just saying how if they acquired Sega, they'd get Relic.
It would make sense.
I don't know. We don't think they're getting Sega, and I don't know if Sega would let go of Relic individually.
Because they're a really good developer.
And this was another thing we just kind of discussed. Number 3, do you think Starfield will be exclusive for Xbox PC? There were some rumors about Sony trying to close the temporal exclusive. Yes, Sony were trying to lock down Starfield, and then
that announcement happened. Lol.
And I think you're now going to get the opposite. I think Starfield will be exclusive to Xbox, and PC, of course. But yeah, I think Starfield will be exclusive to Xbox.
Yeah.
They need something like that to be exclusive. Yeah. That's exactly what they need.
And if you notice, if you pay attention, every time there's a media interview, and I'm not talking games media, but just generally, and Phil speaking, or Starfield is mentioned by name, which is why I think it might be coming this year.
Yeah.
It might not. I think it might be delayed in 2022, but I think you'll definitely see it this year, and they'll make a big hoo-ha about it, because you will only be able to play it on Xbox and Xbox PC.
I still think it's 2021, personally. Liam S. Let's have a look through his quickly. xCloud, Microsoft. Okay. So, also Liam, very quickly. No, Jeff Grubb didn't get back to me about the Star Wars EA game, so I'll just get that question answered right away. Though I did tell Jeff what the game that wasn't dead was. Now, and he fully understands why I won't say what it is. So there you go. So the question I'm going to pick from Liam: Microsoft's mobile games have all been a disappointment. Yes, they have.
Minecraft Earth.
Now that they have, sorry,
Minecraft Earth shut down, didn't it? Or it's shutting down in June.
I mean, I'm surprised that didn't happen sooner. Every time I tried to play that game with my daughter, it didn't work.
Such a shame.
Microsoft's mobile games all been a disappointment. now that they have a dedicated mobile studio in Alpha Dog Games, do you see this changing in the future? That's a good question. There's two ways to look at it. Yes, we do see it changing because they have a dedicated studio. No, we don't see it changing because they've had absolutely zero success with mobile games, and why bother?
And I'm sorry to say this, it makes me sound cold and callous and cruel. You know, when ZeniMax acquisition was announced, there was lots of talk about, there's going to be redundancies, and they made explicit ways of saying, hey, we're actually going to keep the publishing teams and work together and leave them as kind of like an independent running on their own steam, but they're ours, you know. But if I look at redundancy potential, they are there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. If you look, their website hasn't been updated. I don't think they've really got one. There's no one knows anything about what they're doing or who they are or anything, right? So
they could just absorb them into the other studios.
They could, but I don't know. Is mobile game development hugely different to console game development or PC game development? I don't know. Is the skill sets the same? Probably, maybe.
They'd be similar. Unreal works on mobile and Unity works on mobile.
That's true. Would they roll them into a team that makes the Game Pass and Xbox apps and help have a dedicated team that can improve and build on those feature sets?
I don't know. I mean, an artist for a game is an artist for a game, whether that's on mobile or whether that's on.
That's true. That is true.
Console, like code is code. If a mobile game's coded in
Unity or Unreal,
yeah,
that's a good point.
Like, I don't think the fact that it's mobile means we can't have that staff in this studio because they make mobile games. Actually, you know what? I do want to, because it's I think a super quick one to answer from Liam. Once xCloud is more rolled out and has the upgraded Series X servers, do you think Xbox will have a first-party mobile controller like the Razer Kishi? No. Because they have their controller. They'll just want you to get a clip.
And that's the thing. You already kind of answered the question. The Razer Kishi exists.
Yeah.
Like, people are just going to... Like, there's better third-party controller options out there already. Why would Xbox need to make their own? And they just get a Razer Kishi.
Do you know what's weird about the Razer?
Mobile in.
Yeah, you got the clip that clips onto the pad. Do you know what's weird about the Kishi? I couldn't get the Xbox branded Kishi, right? But it's the same. The buttons are the same. The only difference is the colours for the buttons aren't right. So my A button is red and my B button is green and so on. And do you know what is bizarre? Despite the fact, who looks at the pad while playing?
No
one. But my brain knew that the colours were wrong, so my thumb would automatically go to the red button for no, even though it was B. Or A rather. So I'd start pressing A on, and it was really like I had to really force myself. It was really strange. I didn't think that would happen. But I will post my thoughts on this and whether you should get it. I think it's pretty cool.
My brother has one.
If only it worked on iPhone.
They have an iPhone version.
Do they?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was. When did they release that?
Maybe I'm wrong. I've seen it. And it was. I don't know if it was available. It's definitely either coming very, very soon or it's already out. But yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
It's definitely been announced, but I'm pretty sure it was available to buy.
Yeah.
I just want xCloud to come to iOS.
Well, they've said that that's happening too, right?
I know.
That's all good.
Well, that's it.
That's it. That's our.
We pretty much went through all of them except for a couple.
Yeah. I'm pretty pleased with that. It is really nice to be back at it. I enjoyed my break. Thank you, Nick, for keeping the torch lit. And obviously, big thanks. I didn't get to thank him personally, but big thanks to Jeff Grubb for joining us last time. The good news is Jeff is obviously a wonderful guest and a super knowledgeable chap from an industry perspective, and he has expressed a willingness to come back on, which we will definitely
he said he'll be back on.
Take advantage of. Especially as we get closer to E3 when things really start spicing up. Mm-hmm. But we do plan overall as a team this year to knuckle down. We're going through some exciting stuff that I'd love to tell you about, but I can't yet. Behind the scenes from a site and you know who we are kind of perspective, but we're also working hard on getting some cool guests. If there's anyone you'd really love us to have on, drop it in the YouTube comments below. You know, we have ways and means.
Don't say methods. Phil. We want Phil on
We want Phil too. That time will come. We'll get to a point where
try and get
him.
Don't say Phil. We're aware.
But as always, Massive thank you to my co-hosts for an excellent year behind us and a good one ahead of us, and to our listeners and our followers and our supporters. Thanks for making 2020 super bearable compared to what it could have been for all of us, and we're really excited to do good things in 2021, so stick around. I don't think there's much more to say than that, so we shall probably bid you all adieu. Make sure you love, like, subscribe, share, talk about it, shout about it, invite your friends. Let's help the forum and community grow. And we'll see you all next time.
Ciao for now.
See ya, everybody.